Hey everybody, it's Flyin Ryan here with the review of the X252 Shuttle. Now we got another really nice, cool model from XK, brand I've been a big fan of lately. Kind of like the X251, this does have brushless motors and it has a 3D or 6G switch. However, unlike the X251, this one actually can fly upside down. So it has motor reversing, so you can fly upside down or, do mild 3D like TikToks and stuff like that. And then it also has an FPV camera on it. And that is a 5.8 gigahertz FPV HD camera. So you've got a monitor on the transmitter there for the real-time video. And then you've got two bright white headlights here, so you actually have some, it casts a little bit of light. So pretty cool, and I like how the arms kind of go up like that so the props stay out of your view. Just a really neat, cool looking model all around. Big fan of this one again, and it does use the Futaba protocol, so you could fly it with the Futaba radio if you want. However, the radio it comes with is plenty capable, total hobby grade computer radio, really nice, good gimbal sticks, got switches all over the place, and then the monitor mounts right onto it there. Kind of weird, the monitor doesn't like hold its position very well, so it can kind of flop around sometimes. But when you're holding it, it stays, in a good angle there to see it while you're controlling the quad. So we'll get back to that here in a little bit. First, I'll cover everything else it comes with. So we do have a sun visor for the monitor, so you can clip that on the screen, and then you pull it open, and everything springs out. So you've got a little sun block there. We have a full set of spare props. This USB charging cable is to charge the monitor, so it does have its own power source. We also have, I forget, did I say we got a USB card reader, little Allen wrench there, screwdriver, and it does come with the micro SD card here, which plugs into the front. And that is, I can already see it there, that's a 4 gigabyte micro SD card. So not mess with pulling that all the way out. We do have a wall-powered charger here that charges through the balance plug. Probably the main negative about this is that it has this proprietary battery where it's meant to fit right into the body and kind of molds into place there, so it looks good and it's nice and convenient to plug in and everything. But then you're stuck to this battery. You've got to buy more batteries specifically for this, and then you don't really have normal charging options. So it comes with this adapter here that you plug onto the top of the battery. I think, am I doing it right there? I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, so you plug it in, and so now it has a balance plug knob there that you can plug into the charger. So I think you can use, I think some hobby grade chargers will charge just through the balance plug, but then you can't balance charge them. It'll just do a normal charge, and the cells can end up getting, off balance from each other. So that's probably the one negative about this model. Otherwise, I am quite a fan of it all around. It weighs 235 grams, so it is just below the limit of 250, so you do not need to be registered to fly this one, so that's another bonus. The battery is a 2S LiPo, 950 milliamp hours, and it takes about an hour and 35 minutes to charge, and you get about a 9-minute and 15-second long flight with a 15-second LVC warning, so about 9.5 minutes total. Let's see. All right, so getting back to the transmitter, let's see. First things first, when out of the box, the throttle curve on this is only set to 80. So I turned that up to 100%, because otherwise when you're only at 80, the throttle only gives so much power, and so it's a little bit slow and not overly responsive. So I turned that throttle up, and now now it's got some good power to it. And I've covered it in previous reviews of this model, or of XK models, but I forget now, is it pressing mode or pressing this? You press and hold either mode or just the push button over here, and then you'll get into the programming menus, and that's where you can pick your dual rates and throttle curves and all that. So pretty easy to program it there, and the manual covers it and everything as well. Let's see. Okay, so covering the buttons, I need to use the manual. I guess first let's cover recalibration, which is kind of awkward. We've got a 6G hovering setting, so I think that's your accelerometer, but then there's also gyro calibration, which gyro is what maintains the yaw. So it says like if you find that the gyro gets offset, it'll yaw. So if you hold both sticks to the outside corners, that's going to reset the gyro. But to reset the accelerometer, which is what allows it to keep a nice stable hover, you've got to hold both sticks straight down, and then it says push throttle stick to fly to make it hover by 2 joysticks. When hovering, land the quadcopter slowly. So I don't know how long you're supposed to hover, but you press both of those sticks all the way down, the LEDs are going to start blinking, then you take off and try to hold a nice stable hover for a while, and then land it, and then hold both sticks down again until the LEDs stop blinking, and that's going to give the accelerometer recalibration. And I think they do that instead of like just holding it on a table or whatever. When you're hovering, it removes the factor of needing a level surface, because now gravity is doing all the work, and so you're more guaranteed to get a good level setting that way than putting it on a surface which may not be level. But then it makes it a little more complex to do. Okay, so I also need the manual here for all the switches to make sure I get it right. So we'll go around. We've got throttle hold here, so that's what you flip to, so that your motors don't arm if you move the throttle, or if you're flying in 3D, the motors are always going to be running, so you need to hit your throttle hold to kill the motors. This is your dual rate switch, so your 2 different rates, low and high rates. The red button here is how you start and stop the video camera, so you can record to that micro SD card. Let's see, this switch here is our 3D 6G switch, so that turns the accelerometer on and off basically. So up is going to be 6G, where it has auto leveling. Down is going to be 3-axis, so it once you get an angle, it maintains that angle. So people like to fly that way for FPV. I don't think this is really that great of an FPV like racer or anything, because the camera doesn't have like an upward angle. So when you're flying forward, you're going to be staring at the ground most of the time. But it does have 3-axis mode, which is what people like to fly FPV in. Now, if you want to do 3D, where you're flipping inverted and stuff, this switch here is your idle up mode. So first you need to put it on 3-axis, then you're going to have, you're going to want to have your throttle hold on, center your left stick, turn on idle up mode, and then when you let off the throttle hold, the motors are going to start spinning. And when you're doing 3D, the center stick there is basically idle, and then the top half is positive lift, and then the bottom half is going to reverse the motors, and now that's when you're going to fly upside down. So if you're going to do an inverted flight, you got to flip over to upside down and then start using the bottom half as your throttle, all the way down being the most throttle upside down. So it's just like flying a 3D helicopter. So I'm not going to get into too much detail there, because if you're going to be doing that stuff, you should probably already be aware of what the controls are. But yeah, that back left switch is your idle up switch. Let me check the manual here, make sure I covered all the switches and buttons and everything. Yep, looks like it. Alright, now let me check my notes to see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh, I did find it, it's not a super stable quad when you're trying to hover. I think, again, because like I've said in the past with these 3D props, when they have 50-50 pitch, they're not quite as, they're not as efficient, and they're not as stable in either direction, because they're meant to work just as well upside down or right side up. so it's a little bit unstable, like it kind of twitches around in a hover and doesn't hold a great hover, but it flies great when you're actually flying it. You can, with all, you know, everything 6-axis on, just all your normal settings like you would flying around upright with auto leveling, if you take off upside down, or if you like hold it like this and start giving it throttle, it will actually arm upside down and allow you to fly around upside down with 6-axis on. So that's kind of cool. It's like an easy cheater way to get into inverted flight if you just want to fly upside down for the fun of it. So I've already filmed my flight review, and I did do that. I just took off upside down and flew it around and did some upside down filming as well. So that's kind of cool. You don't have to know how to flip it into inverted to fly inverted. You can manually launch it inverted, and it'll fly with auto leveling and everything. So that's pretty neat. Let's see. Oh, as far as LEDs, I guess I can plug the battery back in to show those a little bit better. We've got blue on the front arms here, and then the bright white headlights there. I mean, that's really bright. I mean, you can see them through my bright lights there. You can see the light it's casting on my hand. So nice bright headlights there. And then the back, get that to show, arms are green when you're in 6-axis mode and red when you're in 3-axis mode. So when you switch the two modes, those LEDs will change to indicate what mode you're in. I think that covers everything. Let me give one more scan through my notes. Yep, that does it. So let's go check out that flight footage. Alright, this is a flight review of the X252 Shuttle. Another very cool model from XK. This is a 5.8 gigahertz FPV brushless quad. It's got 3-axis and 6-axis modes, and it actually flies inverted. So pretty much everything on this one. It does have an internal memory card, so you can film from the camera, so that's pretty neat. And I don't know if that'll show up too well on camera or not, but we've got blue LEDs in the front and green in the back, and then these white headlights. And then the green in the back actually changes with the flight modes. So if I flip this switch here next to the red button, that's going to turn on Acro Mode. So now they're red, so that's just 3-axis mode. And then green for the stability mode. And then this switch up here in the top left corner is how you turn on idle up mode, so you can fly upside down. I'm no 3D pilot, so I won't be doing that, but however you can hand launch it upside down and fly inverted completely normal with stabilization on and everything, so we'll demo that a little bit later. And then we've also got rates and throttle hold, and then the red button starts filming. So we'll start out, I'm on high rates, and we'll just do some flying first, and then we'll do some onboard video, and then we'll do a little flying inverted. So just like the 251, I turned up the rates on this out of the box. It was a little bit dialed down. They actually had the throttle curve dialed down to like, I think 80 or 85%. So you had to use a lot more throttle. So I turned that all the way up. So you've got more throttle to work with, more speed. This one doesn't quite feel as stable as the 251. Feels a little bit more twitchy. You can kind of maybe see it a little bit. It kind of has a little bit of wobbles to it every once in a while. And I don't know if that's from those slightly angled upward arms or why it does that, but not quite as good of a flyer as the 251. But the 251 doesn't have the camera, so that's what this one has over that one. Funnel going there. Just like the 251, sometimes this one is a little, I don't know, it feels a little slow in a banked turn, like it doesn't quite have the pitch or the power to make a sharp turn, so it kind of feels like it underturns sometimes. So let's go ahead and hit the red button to start some onboard video, and I can kind of try to maybe, let's get maybe over here in the shade a little bit more. You can see the FPV screen maybe a little bit. Looks like the props are in the screen a little. Man, the wind's kicking up on me here. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit twitchy in the video. That may be because I'm recording. But it is 5.8 gigahertz, so it's, you know, as real time as you can get. Should have pretty good range to it. Let's just kind of fly around and film a little bit. Keep it a little bit mild while I'm filming. Alright, let's go ahead and stop the filming and bring it in for a landing, and I'll do some inverted, show you that. Alright, so now if I hand launch it, which you want to make sure to keep your fingers and stuff away from the props. Whew. Kind of awkward there, and the wind pushing it back at me. So yeah, be careful doing that, especially with these brushless motors. But if you hand launch it, I guess you could probably launch it from the ground if you don't mind scraping up your prop hubs, because it would kind of sit on the prop hubs. But yeah, when you launch it inverted, it knows it, so it automatically reverses the motors, and it's just flying completely normal now. All my channels are the same direction as flying upright. Let's do a little bit of upside down video just for a second, just for the fun of it. Man, it's been calm out all day long, and I come out and start flying and the wind kicks up on me. Alright, let's turn off that video. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you can so easily fly inverted if you want. Not really much point to it. I mean, it doesn't, not like it flies any differently or better or anything that way. But yeah, then the awkward part is trying to land, so let me just kind of go ahead and get close to the grass here and throw on throttle hold. Just plop her down in the grass. Alright, well I think that was really all there is to show with that one. That's the X251 Shuttle. Not quite as good of a flyer as the X251. Did I say that right? It's X252 Shuttle. Not quite as good as the X251. But it does have the FPV camera and the ability to film and fly inverted and all that. So if those are more important to you than just pure flying characteristics, this is definitely a model to consider. But between this one or the X251, I think XK Models is doing some really nice things. Got these, you know, affordable brushless models, and just really cool. I'm a big fan of what they're doing. But anyway, that's that. Check the video description for a price and purchase link. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.